So it's like laughable when you look at this statement made by her, when you look at the like barbarism that's being carried out. It's so horrific, these crimes against Christians that they're carrying out, actual crucifixions. I saw a video on X the other day of a Christian man pinned on a cross, literally crucified, and they shot him in the head 3 times and then started dancing and chanting Allahu Akbar. That's what she's saying is more safe than the United States of America. So I think that, look, she's pregnant right now. She's 8 months pregnant. Why don't we just put them all on the plane and ship them to Syria, and she can go be an ISIS bride? Maybe Mahmoud can go take up arms and, you know, he can go persecute some religious minorities and go chant Allahu Akbar like he did on the college campus of Columbia. And, you know, when Mahmoud falls in battle on the sword someday, she can go find another Islamist and, you know, just rack him up.
I don't know if you saw this. Suleiman Ahmed like put out a photo of, here's Mahmoud's wife speaking, and it wasn't Mahmoud's wife.
It wasn't Mahmoud's wife. It was a spokesperson, because people, they don't want everyone knowing how, I think the woman's name is Noor Abdallah, from my understanding. The wife's name is Noor Abdallah, and she's a dentist, or like she works in a dentist's office in New York City. So, you know, how can you trust that you're not going to have your mouth mutilated by the wife of this Palestinian jihadist? We've seen instances of doctors in Australia and even doctors here in America who are Palestinian who said that they would openly kill or sabotage the medical treatment of their patients. Like, you could literally look this up. There's been multiple instances of this, of Palestinians saying that if they found out that one of their patients was a supporter of Israel, they would kill them on the operating table or poison them. Like, how are people supposed to trust that the wife of this jihadi isn't going to like screw up their mouth when they're under the operating table at the dentist's office, or when they're getting their mouth examined with all those really sharp tools? I wouldn't let the wife of some jihadi come near my face and my mouth with tools. You like take that, you could take that little pick that's like really sharp that they use to scrape the plaque off your teeth, and you could like literally stab someone in the jugular and kill them right there on the table. Hell no, I'm not going to take the risk.
I saw a great meme the other day. You know, it's a picture of Mahmoud, under it saying "Death to the West," and then right next to it, nice little picture of Nick Fuentes saying, "You are my greatest ally." And that's the funniest thing to me. It's like these people that all they do is notice all day. They notice all day, but they don't notice like the people they're cozying up to want to destroy the West. They're doing so in England, in Germany, in all these countries, in Canada. But we're
that's the thing. Like, obviously, Nick Fuentes is a very intelligent individual. Okay, he's a very, you know, well-read, intelligent individual. I would say that, you know, we probably agree on like 90% of issues, but then he becomes very Jew obsessed, and he's focused on Israel, and he's focused on the Jews, and that's the 10% that, you know, it gets a little crazy. But for the most part, you can't deny the fact that Nick Fuentes is a very good orator. He is very well spoken, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to like geopolitics. That being said, you would think that he would be smart enough to understand, given the fact that he likes to call himself a Christian nationalist, that there's no such thing as an Islamic Christian alliance. So I'm hoping that the Groyper crowd and the Nick Fuentes crowd can come to realize that, you know, in this case, the enemy of my enemy is not my friend. I mean, the same kind of Islamists that are literally chanting Free Palestine and Intifada revolution on college campuses across our country are the same Islamists that are in Syria right now crucifying Christians. And so while I do not agree with anything Nick says about Jews or Israel, I will say that, you know, he's not completely brain dead, right? He has the intelligence, and he also has the historical comprehension and the biblical and religious comprehension to understand that there's no such thing as an Islamic Christian alliance. So I don't know if he's just LARPing for attention. I don't know, but he's got to kind of be a little bit more critical of this Islamic influence, in my opinion, because you can't be criticizing the Jews and then also giving the Muslims a pass when they're crucifying Christians. I've never seen a Jew crucify a Muslim or crucify you know, a Christian in modern times. So I'm just saying, like,
yeah, I wanted to say, Nick said the other day, he's never lost a debate on his view of Jews and Israel. He's also been running from debating me for 7 years. He was offered a debate on a platform that millions would have watched. So, Nick Fuentes, you're welcome to come on the Jewcast, and we can discuss Jews and Israel, anything you want.
Right.
And Laura, since you said, you know, Nick is smart, do you have a favorite and a least favorite of the noticers? Is there anybody in the noticers that you especially like or dislike?
I mean, I I don't know. Look, I've had conversations with some of these individuals. I don't hate them. Like the fact of the matter is I think like a lot of their views are misguided and misdirected because they just use the term Zionist as kind of this, blanket statement when they're really just talking about leftist Jews. Like if they actually came to see Jews like us, they would realize the Zionist Jews hate the lefty Jews just as much as you do. Like we're literally on the same team, but they don't want to admit that. So they think that all Jews are part of some, Zionist cabal. But I don't hate all of these individuals. I just, I don't know. I've had nice conversations and interactions with some of them, and some of them have been nice to me in person. I've had friendly conversations with Nick Fuentes. I've had friendly conversations with Myron Gaines. I've had even friendly conversations with Solomon on other topics, right? But they just become so crazy when it comes to topics like this. And so I don't think that all of these people are horrendous people. I just think that a lot of their views on Israel and Jews are a little bit misguided. Because like I said, I went on Myron's podcast and he's a funny guy. He's a former DHS agent.
Yep.
He's pretty intelligent, in my opinion. Nice. He's had my back in instances, and there's been instances when Nick Fuentes has defended me. So I'm not trying to justify their behavior or anything that they've done, but I do think that this is an area of conversation in which we will never agree, and we're never going to find common ground. But it doesn't mean that everything else that they say is completely discredited, because they do make a lot of good points when it comes to other issues, especially as it relates to immigration. So, that's all I'm trying to say is that I'm not for censorship. I'm not calling for any of these people to be banned or completely shut down on all social media. But I do wish that they would be a little bit more nuanced in their classification, because I'm naming the Jew every single day. Every single day, I'm naming Marxist Jews, like the Jewish Voices for Peace that carried out a domestic terrorist attack at Trump Tower yesterday. I'm calling out the Jewish federal judge that struck down the deportation order of Mahmoud Khalil and his radical Jewish wife and his radical Jewish children and his radical Jewish brother-in-law, who is tied to these Palestinian organizations. So Jews, believe it or not, are calling out other Jews too. Just because you're Jewish doesn't mean that you can't notice the conflicts of interest with some of these individuals yourself. So I just wish that they would go back to calling them Marxist Jews or globalist leftist Jews instead of calling them Zionists, because there are Zionists like me who are also just as critical of open borders. I literally risked my life and went down to the Darien Gap in Panama last year and exposed HIAS, right? The Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, for facilitating the invasion of our country. I had the police called on me at the ADL headquarters in 2016 or 17 when I went there to confront Jonathan Greenblatt. So again, I just think that it's very misguided. And then it's like, oh, you're not America First. You're just a Mossad agent. You're here to misdirect. You're not actually really, focused on exposing these people or a true Trump supporter. You're just a spy sent by Israel. And you're just trying to tell us what we want to hear. So we don't know that you're actually an ADL operative. Like that's literally the shit that they say on their spaces. I wish I was making it up. It's like total deranged mental illness. Apparently I'm not really real, and I'm not who I say I am. I'm a spy for Israel because, nope, can't have it be the case that a Zionist Jew actually agrees with you on 99% of the issues. Nope, can't be the case that a Zionist Jew is exposing these Jewish organizations. Nope, we won't have it, because we have to just accuse all Zionists of being bad. I mean, it really is a mental illness when you look at it. It really is a derangement. I call it Israel derangement syndrome.
It is. Can I ask you a question real quick on the actual word Zionism? That word's been given so many definitions from.
Yeah, let me just break it down for you really quick. Okay.
Please.